He modern view holds fear of the sun, the light, and the climate. Today you often hear, the sun is dangerous and should be avoided. What is also said, that the sun causes skin cancer, aging, and damages DNA. You must protect yourself with sunscreen and stay out of the sun as much as possible. Why this is misleading? The sun is essential for life on Earth. Vitamin D, which is crucial for your immune system, is produced solely through sunlight in your skin. Studies show that lack of sunlight is actually associated with depression, osteoporosis, autoimmune diseases, cancer. What is not being told is that sunscreen often contains chemicals that penetrate the skin and may be carcinogenic. Many illnesses attributed to the sun are actually caused by lifestyle, nutrition, toxins, not by the sun itself. According to science, the sun is a dead ball of burning plasma. What they say, the sun is a giant nuclear reactor slowly burning out. It is a ball of hydrogen and helium. What mystics, esotericists, and even alternative physicists say, the sun is not a burning object, but an electrically charged portal of consciousness. The sun creates life, radiates information, synchronizes biological rhythms. Those who support this include Nikola Tesla, Baird T. Spalding, the Vedic texts, plasma cosmology, electric universe model. Why this is being kept secret? If the sun is acknowledged as an intelligent living being, the worldview shifts from mechanical and dead to spiritual and alive. This undermines the materialistic paradigm on which many systems of power are built. Sunlight is harmful and useless beyond a certain dose, says Big Pharma. What they claim is, too much sunlight is harmful, and sunlight itself has no deeper value, except to warm you and produce vitamin D. What is left out is that sunlight contains light frequencies, UV, infrared, visible, that regulate biological processes. It activates pineal consciousness, third eye. Sunlight stimulates serotonin production, the happiness hormone. Sunlight synchronizes the biorhythm and inner clock. Science says the sun is unrelated to consciousness and spirituality. This is what they say. The sun is an object, nothing more. Anything related to spirituality or mysticism is superstition or symbolism. What esoteric and spiritual traditions say, the sun is a gateway to higher dimensions. The sun is the physical face of a higher spiritual force. In Egyptian, Vedic, Tibetan, and Incan traditions, the sun was worshipped as a living being, a spiritual teacher. For example, Jesus called himself the light of the world. The Egyptians worshipped Ra as the conscious light. In India, Surya, the sun god, living, radiant, and healing. They say the sun causes climate change. One-sided narrative. Literally, they say this. Climate change is mainly caused by CO2 emissions from humans and animals. What is emitted? The sun has cycles of activity, like sunspots and solar flares, that strongly influence the climate. Past ice ages, warmings, and coolings happened without human emissions. Some scientists state that cosmic influences and solar cycles play a far greater role than is admitted. Why this is a problem. One-sided policies are pursued, such as blocking sunlight, geoengineering, while the role of the sun is barely discussed in the public climate debate. What they say, the sun is an external factor separate from you. The sun is 150 million kilometers away, and has no direct relationship with your body or soul, except through heat. What many spiritual traditions say, the sun is internally connected with your heart, your mind and your cell light. You are a projection of sunlight in human form. Sunlight resonates with your aura. It nourishes your bioenergetic field. Modern science confirms this in part. Biophotons, light particles, are present in all your cells. The pineal gland is activated by sunlight. Exposure to sunlight affects DNA repair, immunity, sleep, fertility, and even spirituality. Why is this hidden or distorted? This has everything to do with 1. Control and dependency. Those who fear the sun, stay inside, lose energy, become sicker, and depend on pills and systems. 2. Economic interest. Sunlight is free, but pills, sunscreen, lamps, antidepressants, and supplements are big business. 3. Suppression of spiritual awakening. The sun as a gateway to your higher self. That does not fit in a world that wants to keep you small, afraid, and obedient. People who live in regions with prolonged darkness during winter months, such as in Norway and parts of Sweden, Finland, Iceland, and Alaska, can suffer severe psychological and physical symptoms. This phenomenon is known as seasonal depression, SAD, seasonal affective disorder, a recurring depressive disorder triggered by lack of daylight, especially in autumn and winter. What happens in Norway and similar countries in northern Norway, above the Arctic Circle, e.g. Tromsø or Alta? The sun does not rise for weeks to months during winter. This is called the polar night. During this time, people literally live in twilight or darkness 24 hours a day. What residents experience: extreme fatigue, sadness, depression, disrupted biorhythm, sleep-wake cycles thrown off, lack of motivation, social withdrawal, craving for sugar and carbohydrates, increase in anxiety or panic. True stories from interviews, reports, and documentaries. 1. The story of Eva from Tromsø. I loved nature here, but after my third winter, I literally couldn't get out of bed. I cried every morning for no reason. Then I realized it was the sun, or the lack of it. She eventually moved to southern Spain and fully recovered. 2. The story of Lars, a police officer in Alta. We had night shifts that began in darkness and ended in darkness. After weeks, I felt like I was in a cage, detached from time. Even my colleagues grew quiet, short-tempered. 3. In a documentary called Dark Side of the Sun, BBC, people said they only started to feel human again when the light returned. Some families plan winters abroad or use light therapy. Why does this happen? Sunlight regulates your melatonin and serotonin, hormones affecting sleep and mood. Less sunlight means more melatonin, drowsiness, and less serotonin, happiness hormone. Your biological clock becomes deregulated without daylight signals. How do people cope? Many Norwegians use light therapy lamps, 10,000 lux per day. Daylight alarms that simulate sunrise, vitamin D supplements, active outdoor movement, no matter how dark. Some people choose to temporarily relocate to sunny countries each winter. In extreme cases, they emigrate. This truly happens. Why is this important? Because it shows how deeply the sun is interwoven with our well-being. Without sunlight, humans lose energy. The body becomes unbalanced. Consciousness becomes clouded. The sun is not just a source of warmth, but of life force, joy, rhythm, and balance. In Norway and similar countries, the prolonged absence of it is a serious health issue, and people experience this firsthand. The sun is not your enemy. She is your source. She gives you life, light, information, rhythm, consciousness. By demonizing the sun, humanity is cut off from its divine origin. We must dim sunlight to stop climate change. And then the extremes. Women in many cultures are fully covered, resulting in chronic vitamin D deficiency, disrupted hormone balance, weaker bones and immune systems. Realize this is not natural, otherwise people would have been born covered, regardless of religion. If you realize that humans are co-creators of the great central sun, carrying its consciousness and life, it is absurd to think one must cover oneself because some god would require it. This applies to all absurd rules humanity has invented. This petty way of thinking blocks all intelligence of the infinite all. It keeps you in a state of hypnosis, of subservience, dependency, and fear. Realize that the human being is a true angel with infinite potential. That is you, me, all of humanity. Gates and technocrats want to block sunlight with reflective particles in the atmosphere. This is called geoengineering. But ask yourself these questions. If the sun is dangerous, then why does life exist at all? If sunlight heals everything, which it does, why is it being avoided? Why was the sun worshipped as a god or living being in nearly every ancient culture? This does not mean one must defy the heat of the sun or bake for hours in it. It means that daily one should sun gaze. Sun gazing is the practice of absorbing light through your eyes and skin, just as the central subsuns are nourished by the great central sun. So too does the sun nourish us.